Well, good afternoon to everyone. Good to see you here. If I have kept my schedule straight, these are domestic boarding parents, and I just want to say that we're so grateful that you're here. We may have maybe a little bit of a mixture of folks in here today, but welcome to the Stony Brook School. My name is Josh Crane. I'm the head of school here. I'm in my 9th year of leadership at the Brook. And I'm very grateful to be able to welcome you to our 100th year. That balloon back there, that I'm not quite sure what that number is, but it's not 100, so don't let that fool you. We are turning 100 this year. It's our centennial, and we are thrilled about it and thrilled that you are part of this journey too. So I'm going to speak for a few minutes, and then following me will be people who are uber relevant to your child's experience and your experience here. They'll be following me, giving you good information about some of the things that you can expect this year. I do want to say how much I respect and appreciate the trust that you've placed in us to bring your children here in a boarding environment in the midst of a pandemic. I salute and applaud your bravery and courage, and I will tell you that we will do everything we can to reward that courage. And have a great year, and I believe we will. So let me just say a few words. We read the Bible a lot here at this school, and we look to it for inspiration, for guidance, for direction. And in it, there's a story in Matthew 7 that Jesus tells about two houses. One house that was built on the rock, and one house that was built on the sand. He was telling this story to illustrate the strength of his teachings. Well, these two houses are built, and inevitably a storm comes. A strong storm with heavy winds and heavy rain that blow hard and beat upon those houses. The one on the rock stood firm. The one on the sand fell with a great crash. Well, it's hurricane season here in North America, and so this parable seems particularly apropos to the discussion here, what we're living in, but we're not just talking about winds of hurricanes blowing. Over the past 18 months in our country, there have been winds of another kind, winds of division, of enmity, and of strife. And whether you're dropping your child off here for the first time or for the 6th time, what I want you to know with great certainty and confidence is that the Stony Brook School is built on a rock. For 100 years, we have believed that the purpose of our education is to challenge young men and women to know Jesus Christ as Lord, to love one another as themselves, to grow in knowledge and skill, so that they might serve the world through their character and their leadership. This has not changed. We believe each child who walks through our doors is a sacred being and therefore worthy of utmost love and respect, no exceptions. We will know them, we will love them, and we will assist you in helping shape their character. And if our program takes root, that character will be marked by humility, by service, love, kindness, gentleness, patience, and perseverance. We are looking forward to partnering with you in this vital work. Well, if you've gotten to know Stony Brook a little bit, you'll know that this is a school that values relationships. If something isn't going well in your child's experience, let's talk about it. Start with your child's advisor and work from there. You should find our team friendly, approachable, and eager to help. You can stay in touch with your child's academic progress through our portal, online portal, where grades and other information are posted. If you're checking the portal more than, let's say, twice a week, I would lovingly encourage you to get a hobby and get connected to us through opportunities, through SBS Parents. Linda Reuter, who is the president of our SBS Parents group, which is like a PTA, if you're familiar with that language, a parent organization. She's not here today, so we have a very capable stand-in who will tell you a little bit about how SBS Parents operates and functions. But we really seek to have as many of our parents, even if you're far away, connected to us. And so there'll be online opportunities to connect, and we invite you to pay attention to those. Well, let's talk practically a little bit about this year. I know there are many different views on how to handle COVID, probably even in this room. We sent out a survey maybe a couple of weeks ago just asking parent perspectives, and about 50% wanted people to take masks off right away and 50% wanted them to keep them on. We weren't too surprised by that dichotomy, but let me just share with you a few things about our approach. First of all, from the beginning of the pandemic, we just made a fundamental commitment not to fear, not to make decisions out of fear. I want to look at data, I want to analyze what's going on, but we don't want to act out of fear. And we also want to take into account all dimensions of health. Physical health, obviously critically important. But for teenagers, emotional health, social health, mental health, all these things are vital for them as well. We're committed to in-person learning as the best odds chance to put teenagers in a position to experience total health, even in the midst of a pandemic. We'll start this year with our masks on. It's the guidance that's come from New York State when we're indoors. But when we're out of doors, we want to encourage people to take their masks off because we want to build community. We want people to see each other's faces. We want to make this Stony Brook School experience this year as special and as normal as possible. And the opportunity to be outdoors, certainly in the first couple of months of the year, we want to take every opportunity and advantage to do that. Because our goal is not to keep masks on indefinitely. We'll maintain 3 feet of distance. We'll ensure our spaces are well ventilated, and we will avoid all school large gatherings indoors. Sports will continue pretty much as normal. Hear some more about that. But we're looking forward to a year where we're going to be able to see each other and build community, which is so important for us. And the other thing that I would just say to you is we've gotten pretty good at this. I don't say that to brag or with any kind of arrogance, but we've been doing this now for the last 18 months. We had in-person schooling all of last year, and we developed a system in a way that really, I think, promoted health and kept us together on campus. So I want you to have confidence in our approach. We have a great team, and most of these folks also have children here on the campus. So when we make these decisions and when we think about these things, we're not only thinking about them from an administrator lens, but also our own parental one. So we're all in with you. Well, lastly, in preparation for our 100th year, I've been doing quite a bit of research on the founding of our school and our school's history. And I've actually come to take great comfort in the many dangers, toils, and snares that our institution, the Stony Brook School, has passed through in its century. Stony Brook attracts a hardy sort, no doubt about it, but it's more than that. The founders and the folks who've come before me, I've just noticed their hope was so strong. They had hope, and they clung to it. And it was that hope that buoyed them up during the Depression, during World War, other wars, civil unrest, and other challenges. It's that hope that they had, the hope that we are not alone in this universe, and that God will make a way, even when there is no way. They stood on the rock, and by their example, they invite us to do the same. We don't get to choose the times in which we're born, but we do get to choose what we make of them. And I want to invite you to stand with us on the rock this year as a community and harness all of the good that this year holds for your children. I'm really excited about you being on this journey with us. I welcome you, and I'm very grateful to have you here. It's now my privilege to introduce to you the co-director of our college counseling program, Chris Liu. Chris is has been here. Chris, how many years now? Is it 7? 7 years that Chris has been with us. She's a great speaker, and you'll really enjoy hearing her. So please welcome Chris Liu.
It is really so good to see you today, and I want to also extend a hearty and warm welcome to the Stony Brook School. I am one of the co-directors of the College Counseling Program. But before I get to what I want to share with you today, I just want to say that if I get a little emotional while I'm speaking today, I hope that you will bear with me. I just dropped off my youngest child at college for his senior year. I didn't expect to feel so sad, but knowing that this was sort of my baby's last year at college hit me a little harder than I thought it would. So parents, if you are feeling a little sad, a little anxious today at the thought of dropping your children off here, I just want to say I know how that feels, but I also want to tell you that they are in excellent hands. When my own children were growing up, I used to tell them that I wanted them to make not just good, but best choices for themselves. And then I shared with them this quote from Voltaire, that sometimes the good can be the enemy of the best. Because if we're honest with ourselves, it's generally not the really bad things that hinder us from making the best choices. It's the numerous good things that compete for our attention. So I want to talk a bit about a good way to think about the college admissions process, and then I want to share with you what I think is the best way to think about this process. One good way to think about it is to perhaps set a goal of getting into a top-ranked college. In fact, if you have chosen the Stony Brook School because you think that it would help your child get into a top-ranked school, I want to tell you that you are at the right place. Last year, 38% of our senior class was admitted to a top 30 U.S. News and World Report college. Am I proud of our results? Absolutely. They're good results. But thinking primarily about the admissions process, this way can actually hinder you from the best way to approach the admissions process. And so here it is, parents. I want to share with you today the best way to think about the college admissions process. First, let's talk about academics, which is a significant part of this process. What would be good is to focus on getting good grades, but what is best is to really love learning, be curious, read for recreation, and be an engaged student. Parents, a student can have a 4.33 average and never be a real learner. They've simply learned to digest information and ace tests, but they never really come alive. I really enjoy engaging with students who are passionate about things. Recently, I got to know a student who loved math. Actually, that would probably be about the biggest understatement of the year. I had never known a student who loved math the way that he did. He would just come into my office and just start talking about how beautiful math was, the beauty that he found in numbers. It was pretty amazing. Now, not having been a great math student myself, I did not understand 99% of the things that he shared with me. However, I just loved how much he loved math. He talked about numbers the way I talk about really good Korean food, just absolute passion. So here at SBS, we love learners. We're not the only ones. Colleges are also looking for passionate, engaged, and authentic learners. Secondly, let's talk about extracurricular activities. A good decision might be to pursue the things that are going to look really good on a college application. But you would miss the best thing, growing into a person of character. It's easy to miss the difference between talents and gifts. We have super talented scholars, athletes, musicians, and artists here at Stony Brook. But we look deeper because we want to see each student's gifts. What are these gifts, you might ask? They are our God-given strengths that bless the community today and will better the world tomorrow. Let me share a few of them with you. Friendship, kindness, joy, patience, peace, forgiveness, gentleness, hope, trust, and love. Because maybe your child isn't an elite scholar, athlete, artist, or musician, but I want to tell you that every student here is gifted. And colleges are looking for students who are kind, students who know how to build bridges between different groups of people, students who aren't afraid to live by what they believe, and essentially students of character. Our young people are our future, and the world desperately needs people who know how to be kind, love others, recognize and appreciate diversity and difference, and do the right thing even when it's hard. Finally, let's talk about the application process itself. As I've mentioned, you might be tempted to think that a good outcome would be for your child to get into a top-ranked college. But for us, our college counseling program rests on the idea of fit, which is really the best way to think about this process. As we meet with students, we ask them what they're looking for in a college experience. A good measure might be ranking, because if we're honest with ourselves, we're more impressed with Princeton than Purdue, Harvard than Hofstra, Stanford than Seton Hall. But we look deeper and ask students these questions. What does this school have to offer? What do I need to thrive? Is this school a good fit for me? The answers to these questions help us to determine the best schools for a student to apply to, because we want every student at Stony Brook to land at an institution where they will be challenged, love learning, find and build meaningful friendships, and continue to hone their talents and gifts. There's a lot more I could tell you today, but I'd like to end our time with a story. A couple weeks ago, I had the chance to meet up with one of our alumni. Emily, in her time here at SBS, had not been one of our top students, and I think she would tell you that herself. But I remember hearing from several of her teachers that she was a real learner. She wasn't the loudest kid in class, but every time she spoke, there was a thoughtfulness to her contribution. During her senior year, I had the opportunity to really get to know her. And I found everything that teachers had said about her to be true. Her college process led her to a college that many of you would not recognize the name of. And when she came back home, we had the chance to get together. I was excited to hear about her freshman year. I want to tell you today that our conversation was honestly one of the best parts of my summer. I was impressed by her level of scholarship, but even more so by the wisdom that she had gained. She captivated me when she spoke about the global and international events that were really on her heart. I was excited when she shared her aspirations, her future dreams of pursuing law to fight for what was right. And as our time together came to an end, I told her this: spending the last hour and a half with you has given me hope for the future. So parents, I want to tell you that you have chosen well. The Stony Brook School is a wonderful place for your child and your children to receive an education. My own 3 children went to 3 of the highest ranked high schools in New York City. They had a really good experience. But when my youngest child came to Stony Brook, I had the chance to see the difference. Here at Stony Brook, everything we do focuses on developing men and women of character. It shapes everything we do, including college counseling. We want to really get to know students, love them well, and then help them apply to schools that will continue to help them be people who will be true learners and servant leaders, whose character will determine and shape not only their future, but the future of our city, our nation, and our world. As I end, I realize that I haven't given you a lot of tangible information about our college program, so let me share with you briefly about it. We provide a lot of support and information during the application process. Beginning in the 9th grade, we will provide academic advising, which will continue throughout high school. In 10th grade, we will begin to have class and parent meetings to begin the college conversation. In the 11th grade, we will have multiple meetings, both with students, as individuals, and as a class in the second half of the year, so that students feel prepared to enter senior year and the actual college application process. And finally, in 12th grade, we will provide writing workshops, multiple meetings, more class and parent meetings, tutorials on how to fill out the college application, a financial aid presentation, and many more events. We want students and parents to feel confident during the application process. So in conclusion, parents, I really want to invite you to join us as we move through the college application process. Not just in a good way, but in the best way. I want to welcome you again to Stony Brook. I want to wish you and your children an awesome year. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our school counselor and my very, very good friend, Chad Hardison.
Good afternoon. Let me be one of the many to welcome you to our school. My name is Chad Hardison. I am the Director of Counseling Services here at the Stony Brook School. And for a lot of you, maybe most or some of you at least, I come from a very different kind of life. I grew up in the Midwest of America. There was no access to mountains for me to climb up or ski down. There was no ocean for me to hang out at the beach all day and watch the sunset. There was no large metropolitan city for me to spend the day adventuring and exploring. I grew up with a mall, and if you drove about 30 minutes in any direction, you would hit a lot of cornfields. The school I went to was not a culturally diverse school. There were not students from numerous nations from around the world. It was pretty much just a school of people like me. Growing up where I did and growing up how I did, I'm sure some of my experiences in life are probably different than some of yours experiences in life. However, I think it's safe to say that every single one of us here have a variety of thoughts and emotions that we deal with every day. Some of these thoughts and emotions are positive and they're beneficial, and they produce good things in our lives. These positive thoughts and emotions help us to be productive in school. They help us to be productive in our families, in our workplaces. And it's in these positive places with our thoughts and emotions that we are enabled and free to be contributing members of not only the world around us, but the world at large. Other thoughts and emotions that we have are not so good. And it's in these moments of having not so good thoughts and emotions that we find it difficult to be productive in life. We find it hard to be engaged with our family, hard to accomplish things at our job or complete tasks at our schools. And so what we do is we create strategies to try to manage these thoughts and emotions. And sometimes these strategies work, and they work really well. And sometimes these strategies tend to not work so well, and sometimes they create more harm than good. Myself and our other school counselor, who will be speaking right after me, Lynn Kim, make up the counseling department at our school. Our role here at the school is to work with you and your child in developing strategies that help create a place where positive thoughts and emotions can exist. We do this so that students are better equipped to face the challenges that await them here at Stony Brook and to face the challenges that they will face one day in the future. If you ever find that after you drop your child off and the school year goes by that you are in need of our assistance in helping you to create strategies to help your child become a much better student while they're here, we are available to talk, we are available to listen, and we are available here to help. With that being said, please welcome our school counselor, Lynn Kim.
Hello, my name is Lynn, and I would like to introduce myself. I'll be a female counselor at Stony Brook School, and I'll be working with Mr. Hardison in counseling department. And I would like to share a little bit of my story. I came to the United States as an international student. I'm Korean, born and raised in Korea, and I was raised in a Christian family. My dad is a physician and my mom was a teacher, but they were not just a physician or a teacher, but they helped the students both academically and emotionally. And I went to Women's Christian High School, and recently I got my master's degree at NYU in New York City. I feel these experiences will help me to guide and help students at Stony Brook School. Being an international student is not easy, but I believe that because of my parents' constant support, I could overcome many past difficulties in my life, and now I want to be that person for someone else. Schools are very important because children spending so much time in school, and as a counselor, I will make sure I will give students academic, social, and emotional support. I would like to focus on advocating and supporting for the students and be prepared for the real world. Lastly, please do not hesitate to contact with me. I would like to communicate with the students, parents, and their families. Thank you. Next is Nancy Cipitelli, Assistant Director of Advancement.
Again, I want to take a moment to welcome you all here to the school. I hope that when you entered campus today with your children that you experienced some of the gifts that Mrs. Liu was speaking of. Some joy, friendship, peace, kindness. We had over 50 children sign up to help out at orientation for 3 days now, and they were very excited to welcome all of your children here. So I hope you experienced some of that. I work in the advancement office, and in the advancement office, our primary goal is to advance the school as best we can. So we do that through fundraising and lots of events. The first event that we have coming up is the Giving Challenge. It runs for a week from September 13th through the 17th. You'll be seeing emails and social media posts about that. It's on our website, and feel free to participate in that. We also have a Founders Day gathering on the 17th. It's a Friday night of September, and that is down in Port Jefferson at Danfords. Everyone is welcome to attend that as well. You'll see where you can purchase tickets. The next big event we have is our Centennial Gala. It is April 29th. It's a Friday night at the Garden City Hotel, and we are looking to celebrate this 100 years in a big way, so we invite you to join us with that. There are numerous things that go on throughout the year as well, so we'll keep you involved with that. A part of our office is the alumni engagement. Homecoming is coming up the first week of October. I'm sure your kids will give you a lot of feedback on how that weekend goes. Lots of excitement here for that. Also, we have Alana Brooks, who works in my office, and she deals with communication, and she loves to hear stories of your children outside of the school. We know they're doing wonderful things while they're here in school, but lots of our kids do exciting and wonderful things on their own time, over the summer perhaps, or throughout the year. So feel free to share their stories with us or encourage them to come and share them with us, and we'll try to share that with the larger community at hand. I'm also speaking today from the SBS Parents Board for Linda Reuter, who's the president. You should have already started getting some emails from her. I serve on the board as well as the class parent coordinator. We have class parents represented for every single class, and then we encourage parents to volunteer even beyond that. So we have numerous events throughout the year for you to get engaged. It's like the Parents Association or the PTA that Mr. Crane mentioned. So we want you to be involved. We don't care how close you live or how far away you live. There's a way for you to be involved with your children here and with this school. Events happen locally here. We try to do things just to engage the parents off campus, but we also try to have you here on campus and help us celebrate the faculty and staff here through faculty and staff appreciation luncheons around the holidays and at the end of the year. We will communicate with you all the time with that. Should you have a question about anything with the advancement or with SBS Parents Board and how you can get involved, feel free to reach out. The first Parent Association meeting will be September 7th, right here in this building at 7:30 p.m. It will be live streamed and recorded if you can't make it, but we encourage you to try to get here or at least watch the recording so you know what we're all about. Then I just want to thank you again for being here and taking the time. to come today and to sit through this, even after moving your children into the dorms. And it's going to be a fantastic year. Class challenges are Friday night, and you will start to hear all the excitement about that. If you're around and you're local, you can attend that as well. And that'll be a lot of competition between the grade levels. So lots of fun ahead. Thank you for being here. And next up is our Director of Student Life, Dustin Moniz.
Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you as well. One of the things I was thinking about earlier is you're probably all very tired from the moving in process, and I hope our student leaders were able to help you in that endeavor. But I wanted to give you some practical things about Stony Brook and our residential life program, as well as talk a little bit about our mission. And I'll start with the mission. We recognize the incredible amount of responsibility that we have as you entrust your students to us. We know that each student is, their parents see them as the very most prized possession in their life. And we take that very, very, very seriously, and we feel the weight of that responsibility. And Stony Brook does an amazing job extending your family at home into our family here. And we treat our students like they're our own. Our dorm parents are called dorm moms and dads for a reason. They will try to be that for your child when you are not with them. One of the things that I think is great about the decision you all made to send your student here is that they are on a track at Stony Brook to not just grow academically, but they're also going to grow in their independence, in their study habits. I was joking with some families earlier. You're going to be very surprised when you see your child for that first break, because they're going to clean up after themselves. They are going to do their laundry, or at least we hope they will. And that is, I know I'm a boarding school student, so I remember my parents being very impressed when I showed them that I, knew how to do my first load of laundry after attending boarding school for a little while. As you sit there, I'm sure you're also wondering just kind of about things like communication. All right, what we use to communicate with you when you want to take your child, from campus, or if your student would like to leave campus, is a program called Aura. You have all been invited via email to Aura, and you should sign up for that program. Your students will also, or your child will also sign up for that program, and what that will allow you to do is create leave requests. So what that means is your child could say, hey, Mom and Dad, I would like to go to the mall this weekend. We want to know if that's okay with you. So what Aura does is it sends an email to you guys. You get to decide whether you want to approve it or disapprove of it. Comes back to us. Then we approve it, and then your student signs out here and is allowed to go to the mall. That exists for every student who is in our residential life or our boarding program. And it's the best way for us to communicate about student leaves and travel on campus. Another thing that you have received recently is the parent guidebook. That's all been emailed to you. That guidebook goes over our entire residential life program. It also will explain how to use our Aura program. It also talks a little bit about some practical things. Like, how does it feel to be a student in their first week here? You will likely be getting some phone calls. Stony Brook is a rigorous academic place. Your child is in a new home with new students. They're learning to navigate different cultures. They're learning to navigate our meal program. You will likely receive some calls that are going to give you some hesitation about how they're actually doing. And what I want you to know is that we see them, we know them, we love them, we will be around them, and we will have a good picture of how your child is actually doing. What we notice is a lot of times students call home right away, and they give their parents a lot of kind of the negative aspects of what they're going through, and a lot of that is because they're being pushed, and they're being pushed, and because they're in a very structured environment at Stony Brook. Another thing that I just wanted to mention is that Stony Brook is really working hard to deliver a character-based program. So we are going to hold our students accountable. They're going to grow as men and women of character. They're also going to be in a rigorous academic program. They're also going to be going through an athletic program. And what that means is that they have a lot of tension on their lives. It is providing, that tension is what is actually helping them grow. And as that happens, we need to balance that with rest and with a lot of fun. And so one of the things that I would love for you all to encourage your child to do is encourage them to engage in the opportunities and the fun that exists on campus. We work very hard to put together a great weekend program and a great program throughout the week that allows them to socialize and to get to know their friends. Encourage them to enter those spaces, because if you do, their time is going to be very rich here. And they'll create the kind of long-lasting relationships and memories that you could miss out on if you decide not to. The academic program, the athletics, the character building, that's all mandatory. It's going to happen just because they go to school here. But the socializing and the fun, students can really miss out on that if they're not being intentional with their time. So I just wanted to encourage all the parents here, as you speak to your kids in the next couple of weeks, really ask them how they're doing, ask them whether they're engaging in these activities, and encourage them to do that, because it really does make their lives here at Stony Brook much, much better. And with that, I want to introduce you to the Assistant Director of Student Life, who is in charge of creating all this fun, Chad Perney.
Good afternoon, Stony Brook parents. So as Dustin said, I'm the Assistant Director of Student Life, and what that really means is that I am in charge of our activities program here. Just drew a blank. In charge of the activities program here. So we work really hard here at Stony Brook to give those opportunities that Dustin was just speaking about. And what can you expect from me? You can expect a whole list of those opportunities, which you will see through a communication called Weekend at the Brook that I will send out each week. I want you to think quickly, over your high school experience. It's not that the moment that you learn the Pythagorean theorem in class isn't something that you necessarily remember. And it's not that academics here aren't important to us. They are. What you remember are the times where Mr. Perney was sitting in a dunk tank and you dunked him. What you remember are the times when you were a middle schooler and during class challenges, you beat the sophomores in tug of war. What you remember are the moments where, like tonight, there's an ice cream truck after a dorm meeting where maybe you met your best friend, or where you had a chance to serve with that friend at a local organization, whether that's a beach cleanup or a soup kitchen. That's what I'm here for, providing those opportunities for your kid to where when they look back over the course of their education and their life, they come together at their reunions and they go, that was really cool, that was really fun. I'm glad that I did that. One of the ways we do it, it's not a comprehensive list, but it's a start. We have something this year we're starting called the Stony Brook Passport. They're going to be learning a lot about this. It is, again, like I said, not comprehensive, but a really good starting place for, these are the really cool, unique things on offer here at Stony Brook. And they look really, really official. They look like an actual passport. We ask them to bring it to events, and if they show up, they get a stamp, like what you want in any passport. At the end of the year, if they get so many stamps, they get a really cool prize. I would encourage you to ask them, hey, are you going to these things? Because the longer I'm here, this is actually my first year. I've just finished my first, month, which is crazy to think about. I already feel like I've been here a very long time. But I just finished my first month. Talking to students, they are so excited about these awesome activities that are on offer here. And I feel really thankful and blessed to be at a school like this where I can just kind of take over and make them even better. So you'll be hearing about me through our weekend at the Brook. If you have any questions, or even if you have some ideas for activities, I'm always open. I'm really excited and very thankful to be here. I'm looking forward to meeting you and working with all your kids. So with that, I'd like to introduce to you our Dean of Students, Miss Tonya Detweiler. Thanks, y'all.
All right, I am the last speaker. You're almost there. How are y'all doing? Doing all right? All right, okay. So I am beginning my 28th year working here, which is impossible for me to even believe. But before that, I was a student here. So any students that are in the room, I remember sitting in these same exact seats where you are and experienced Stony Brook as a student. I've been here 28 years as a faculty member, and I have 3 children. 2 of them have graduated, and my baby, it's hard to believe, is a senior here this year. So any questions you have from any of those perspectives, I'm happy to answer anytime this year. But hopefully you've experienced already at Stony Brook, you've heard through my colleagues this afternoon that Stony Brook is really big on care. As human beings, we want to be known and we want to be loved, right? All of us do. Teenagers in particular. And that's what we signed up for. We love teenagers, the entire package, we love it. And we want to know your child, we want to love your child, and we want them to know when they leave this place and go to college that they have been well loved and well known. That is our focus. So how do we do that? So my arena is anything that happens during the academic day other than classes. So any of the programming that happens, advisory, assemblies, all of that, discipline, that's all under my umbrella. So I want to talk about a few things under my umbrella and how we focus on care. So the first is discipline, which seems like a very strange place to start when you think about care. But discipline done well is care, right? And I love how we do discipline at Stony Brook. It is restorative discipline, which means if you make a mistake, you are not defined by that mistake. We assume that teenagers, like ourselves, are gonna make mistakes. They are gonna break rules. So what do, right? Yes, you'll get in trouble. If you cross a boundary at Stony Brook, there are consequences. But that's not the end of the story. So what we believe, because we come up from a Christian worldview, all of us as faculty are Christians, we believe that we are all sinners and that we all make mistakes and that Christ came to save us and to forgive us. And that is how we approach discipline with teens as well. So if your child breaks a rule, they have their advisor by their side, they have other students around them, and they work together towards learning from the mistake. So if we look back on our own lives, I think we would each say where we made mistakes, we grew from them, hopefully, and that made us stronger in character, and that is our goal. How do we teach our students to make it through the discipline process stronger in the end because of their mistakes? Advisory. You've heard that your child will have an advisor. All the advising groups are about 10 students, and they meet twice a week. On Wednesday, we will watch a chapel video together as advising groups and then talk about it. And then on Fridays, once a month, we will watch an assembly video, and the other 3 times, literally hangout time, right? So as parents, your child's advisor is your go-to person. So whatever question you have, ask your advisor first, as Mr. Crane said, and if they don't know the answer, they'll find it for you. But it's one-stop shopping for you as parents, and this is an adult who will know your child very well. Grades, social, sports, you name it. So our advisors love to go to the sporting events, drop in on the dorm. It's a really special relationship. So that will be your go-to person as a parent. Work job. So it's a strange word, I know, but it is our word for chores. So just like you probably have at home, we have chores here at the school. We believe that it is important to teach everybody that we're all responsible together to making the community work. So everyone is given a chore. Your child will find out their work job tomorrow, and we'll do it for the first time tomorrow. So it could be wiping down a whiteboard. It could be emptying a trash can, bringing mail from an office to the mailroom. Something small does not take long, but together the school runs when we're all a part of it. Okay, so that's the work job program. And the last is student leadership. I love, love, love how we do student leadership here at Stony Brook. It is real responsibility, and it is real leadership. It is just not a title. You saw all the students today who are on orientation staff. That's real. There's no way we could have pulled off everything we did today in such a personal way if we didn't have our student leaders. And that is the case across the board. Every head student leader has a faculty advisor, and that faculty advisor meets one-on-one with them. They plan out the council meeting agenda, and then each week the student, not the adult, the student leads the council meeting. So the adult pours into the head student leader, and then the head student leader pours into the council. So new students will get the opportunity to watch all the student leaders this year. We have about 50 different councils that they can be a part of. They can watch and see what their interests might be. Is it community service? Is it planning the activities with Mr. Perney? Is it being on dorm council in the dorm? And they can find areas that they're passionate about. And then over spring break this year, all of our new students, as well as our returning students, can apply. We have an online application that is built along the same process of finding a job. So they have to make a resume, and they have to submit that, and then they have to interview for their positions. So it's a wonderful program. It's real responsibility, real leadership, but again, the faculty are pouring into the student leaders so that they learn how to lead in that way. So those are just some things under my umbrella and how we approach it in a unique way here at Stony Brook with a lot of care and love so that your child is well known and well loved. So that concludes our program for today. We'll be up here for a little while if you have any individual questions. But thank you again so much for being here. Thank you for taking time to be in here right now. And have a wonderful afternoon, and we look forward to this amazing year together. All right, take care.